Greetings and salutations, folks. We're going to take a look at Derail Valley, now called Derail Valley Simulator today. Now, this game has been out for quite a few years, and I played quite a bit of it when it did first release in VR, as I initially bought the old Oculus just for Derail Valley alone, and I did play a bit of it back in the day when it was VR only, and it was very cool. Of course, it went to non-VR. You can still play in VR if you'd very much like. I'm sure it's still a great experience, but it's also just PC or 2D, if you will, now, if you'd like to play as well. But, a little bit of horn there for you. I haven't been playing this as of late. I've been kind of eyeballing it here and there. You know, I'm sure most of you have as well, but I figured today we'd take a look at it and look just what's in this new simulator update for Derail Valley Simulator, which the developers that have been, you know, getting ready to push this big patch or upgrade out have been working on this for many, many years. So, again, this is Derail Valley. I'm assuming they're calling it Derail Valley Simulator now by a group of developers called Alt Future. Now, the game currently rests at a slightly thick $39.99. That's US monies, of course, and it's built on the Unity engine. With that being said, price-wise, I believe it does go on sale fairly often, but it's, you know, it's definitely getting more towards, you know, that price being well worth it at this point. So, again, Derail Valley began life in 2019 as a virtual reality only train sim or railroad sim, which saw many updates since then over the years, including, of course, adding non-VR support. Alt Future, the developer, is an independent game developer based in Belgrade, Serbia, also publishing their own content as well, which is fairly interesting. I think by today there are roughly only 10 developers within the studio. There used to be just a handful. I want to say it was like 2 or 3. But anyway, Derail Valley essentially allows you to operate trains through natural and urban environments within an open world, delivering cargo between industries, making money, acquiring licenses, and operating various locomotives and freight in a essentially 160 mile squared map, or 256 km, depending on if you're imperial or metric. July 1st, just a few days ago, saw this massive update in 2023. Massive free update. So if you've already got Derail Valley, as I did, all I had to do was reinstall it, and I got the update for free. So for those that may be unaware as to how Derail Valley works, it's mainly a career and progress centric game or simulator. You basically start out with a beginner shunter known as a DE2 within the game, and you've got a interactive tutorial that you kind of learn the basics with, and you know, just get your feet wet essentially. Basic jobs are then initially available. While you complete those, you'll earn money to purchase types of other jobs, for example, hazardous jobs. There's many more. That's just a simple, quick example. As well as locomotive licenses. So now there's like, sheesh, it's about half a dozen locomotives, maybe more now, including 2 that they added, which we will look at a bit later in the video here. And they're due to add 2 more, another a steam switcher and a slug unit as well, which I'm looking forward to now. But you know, as in the name, trains do indeed and can and will derail within the game. Now, that's not the aim of the game. Sure, you can go fast, derail, cause a massive explosion with a tanker train if you would very much like to, but you know, the physics were always there to do such things as that. Derail, you know, slippage with inclement weather such as rain, you know, things like that. Going around curves too fast, all kinds of stuff. But with this recent update or upgrade or patch to the game itself, a lot of physics have been ticked up on the realism scale, it would seem. So basically, you'll make a bunch of money, to progress in the game. If you do derail, by the way, there is a helpful little tool which you basically can click, and it will cost you some money, so you'll need to save your funds for things like that. So try not to do it too often, or you'll just end up broke and all that. There's also locomotive wear and tear, which is kind of cool. So you'll have like a little gauge on the side of each locomotive where the like serial numbers and model number and all that is, that'll tell you the actual percentage of that piece of rolling stock, whether or not you need to get that thing maintained, or if it's just going to flat die on you, which you don't want to do. There are various shops around the map within Derail Valley where you can do said things, these maintenance sheds, which is a pretty neat little addition to the game itself, which is, it's been around, it's not new, but it's just something you can do. And you'll also need to do things like refuel your locomotive occasionally and load and unload cargo. So now in this bit of recording that I did earlier, I went past my turnout, so I'm having to back the train up here. This is one of the new locomotives, by the way, which is very nice. I have had the pleasure of spending a couple hours on this thing today, and it's very nice to operate. Sounds good, feels good. But anyway, with this update, I'll give you just a few bullet points of what to expect, of what the developers added recently to the game on this update that came out July 1st, just a few days ago, of course, in the year 2023. So the big one, there's your percentage there on screen of the actual vehicle. I just damaged the crap out of it, probably the brakes. But you get improved train simulation. That's one of the main things. You're going to get new locomotives. Now you've got the DH4, the DM3. They remade the steam engine, the S282. That's 3. You're going to get the DE2 and the DE6. That makes 5. So you've essentially got 5. They're going to add the slug unit and the little steam engine switcher. So that'll be 7. Who knows what the hell else is on the horizon. Not only that, they have upgraded the diesel-electric simulation as well with traction motors and dynamic braking simulation. Diesel hydraulic, as in this thing right here, which is basically the DB V100, this thing I'm operating now on screen. That's got the diesel hydraulic simulation, which was, of course, added because it's a brand new locomotive. Torque converter, retarder simulation, all that. And then you've got diesel mechanical, which is on a little mechanical engine that we'll take a look at here in just a moment, which is based on an old BR, I want to say Class 03? Like a Class 03? It sure looks like one. But anyway, we'll take a look at that in a minute, which that's going to have fluid coupling simulation, gearbox, compression brake, all that. And then, of course, the steam engine. So you've got steam simulation, which has been updated with the cutoff cylinder cocks, crown sheet, water dynamics, airflow, all of that. Pretty much everything to do with the steam engine, which I know very, very little about steam-wise. And then there's brake simulation overall with updated physics. And, brake shoes overheating and things like that. So they put a lot into this update. And just train physics as a whole with the suspension, coupling, etc. So not only that, they've added more language localization. I think they've added at least 25 other languages at present. There's a new interface and menu, a new sandbox mode, which is pretty cool. That's totally brand new to the game. So you don't have to do the career per se to do the sandbox mode, but what you will need to do is progress some in the career to buy certain licenses and things like that to be able to operate certain things within the sandbox mode. We'll kind of go over that a little bit later here. You've got like a user manual of sorts. It's basically just a bunch of letters and words thrown at you. It's a manual, I guess, but I don't think it's laid out very well. Another big key thing is what you're seeing here on screen now is dynamic day and night cycle with weather and various weather effects. So that has been added, which is very cool. You'll get all kinds of different weather and weather types, which will affect the train simulation as well. Oh, geez, what else? Updated lighting. I have noticed that. I haven't played this in probably over a year, if I'm completely honest. I'm not the most astute with Derail Valley. I haven't been keeping up with it as much as I'd like. But this update definitely made me perk up. I've heard a lot of people talking about it, seen quite a bit about it. A little bit of, hum over the interwebs going on about it, so I figured, what the hell, we'll take a look at it, and it has not disappointed so far. So we got the new updated lighting as well within cities, industries. You know, you got the dawn and dusk, you know, lighting, which looks fantastic, including train lighting as well. So headlights and marker lamps and all that good stuff. Interior. There's also a new water simulation with particles. You know, environment sounds added. You'll hear, you know, birds, crickets. If you're in a city, you'll hear, you know, just machinery going on and stuff like that. It's pretty nice. They added vehicles as well, so you've got cars, you know, box trucks, things of that nature in these cities as well. So it looks alive when you're going through these cities and industries and ports and all that. So that's pretty nice as well. And then, of course, better reflections with added anti-aliasing options as well as CPU optimization. I've got everything maxed out in this video here, and I've got it capped at 60 FPS, and it's having 0 issues. Alrighty, so to try and keep this somewhat short and sweet, I'm not going to go over every single thing regarding Derail Valley Simulator and all the stock and jobs within. It would take many, many, many hours. I'm sure there's a lot of great tutorial videos out there and things that cover a lot of stuff in general. Although if you would like to see something like that, and I could possibly even use the refresher course myself, just to squirt some grease on the old joints of, you know, learning things with the game again. Let me know in the comments if you'd like to see a, you know, like a tutorial video of sorts, getting started within the game, or hell, just anything in general. Throw something to the wall, see what sticks. Anyway, this is the DE6 locomotive that we're going to take a look at firstly here. This is essentially based on a lot of you American guys and North American folks in general may recognize this type of locomotive. The DE6, while Derail Valley, just to preface, is fictional to a degree, but they are based on a lot of real-life counterparts. So anyway, the DE6 is essentially based on the EMD G16, which was used in Yugoslavia. It, of course, is a 6-axle road locomotive. Can do switch duties, but being 6-axle, you know, pull a great deal, do some yard stuff if necessary. Of course, it's a diesel-electric locomotive, and within the game, I believe, and this very much matters within Derail Valley, it's capable of pulling about 1,400 tons, essentially. Something else that's pretty neat is, since I've last played, wow, that ballast is very crunchy and loud. Since I've last played, they actually added coaches, which is very cool. So there's not much you can do with these currently in the game as far as the career. Now, I have got this in a sandbox instance, so you've got your career side of the game, and then you've got your sandbox side of the game, just to kind of mess around if you want to try stuff out. This is a sandbox. You can load the coaches up in sandbox, and there used to be a mod, because of course there are mods, or there were before the update. I'm sure, you know, people are going to get back into the swing of things, getting mods going again with the game. But there used to be a mod where you could do actual passenger duties. So I've heard. I never did it. That sounds pretty cool. I'd like to do it. Hopefully that, you know, will somehow find its way back into Derail Valley. But these coaches look pretty nice. It's just something you can add to your experience, because there are passenger stations without the game world as well, which is pretty darn cool. You can actually go on these things as well. They are somewhat modeled, which is nice. It's got a pooper. I know a lot of folks in Train Sim are always very excited about when you know, facilities make their way into Train Sims for whatever friggin' reason. But this is the interior. Let's get our little flashlight going here. Can see a bit better. Some good looking seats though, man. This is a nice looking locomotive interior wise. Locomotive coach, Jesus. Yeah, it's definitely not a locomotive. But yeah, these look good. Not only that, but they've got quite a few here as well. So I think there's like 3 different liveries you can do. I think I've got the blue and silver, the probably maroon and cream, and the green there. But anyway, just something extra that you can do if you like. This, of course, is the DE6. Like I was talking about earlier, this is sort of your decal on the side of your locomotive or your rolling stock, telling you the condition that the vehicle is in, whether it needs to be serviced, all that good stuff. It tells you what it is, of course, how much it weighs, you know, the length and all that good stuff. Now, the model looks okay. None of these are actually one-to-one to, you know, whatever their likeness is supposed to be, and they're not supposed to be either. It's, you know, it's like a semi-fictional kind of deal. Just got a generic livery, but that's another thing. People, you know, have modded all kinds of liveries within Derail Valley to, you know, I've seen Rio Grande, Amtrak, you name it on these things. So, you know, it's probably the most American thing in here besides the steam engine, which we'll take a look at too, of course. But model-wise, it looks okay. This is the Unity engine, you know, which a lot of games recently have come out in Unity, and, you know, they look halfway decent. So we'll go ahead and hop on up in this thing here. Open the door. Some of the stuff is kind of a pain in the ass, if I'm honest, still, and always has been, as far as like moving some switches and opening doors and things like that. You've actually got to hold the left mouse button down, you know, and just swing it with the mouse. But anyway, I digress. Let's open this one, get the full sound. I believe there's actually panels back here you can open as well with the starter and the governor and all that, which is pretty neat. See if I can figure out how to start this thing up. Yeah, that's it right there. Alright, so that's the starter. There should be a primer. Yeah, that's the governor there. So that's where we're going to have to start it up. Alright, let's see. We should have a panel here. Let's check our breakers. We got our starter and electrics. Can hear the electricity. Trying to get this damn knife switch up here. There we go. Alright, let's see if we can do some stuff here. Alright, what do we got? What do we got? What do we got? What do we got? I think that's pretty much it. It's fairly simple in that regard. You know, but not too simple. There's still stuff you got to do. And, you know, these things will run out of sand, run out of fuel, they'll overheat. You know, you can do all kinds of things to the rolling stock within Derail Valley. Go ahead and try and fire it up. It's a bit loud, so I turn the volume down a bit. Sounds okay. You know, I may look at Derail Valley a bit different than some other people that may look at it just for funsies. Well, I'm more train sim oriented. Pretty much anything I play sim wise and do. You know, so if you think I'm too critical or too harsh about something, that's gonna be why. The exhaust actually looks pretty good. I like that it's kind of got like a little tornado swirl there. It looks old and smoky, like some of the seals are rotted out. That looks pretty nice, actually. Up. Up. There we go. Let's see if this governor works here. Yeah, it does. Alright, the rev up didn't sound too great. It's gonna be a pain in the ass closing these panels. They sound pretty good, though. Like a little extra sound effect wise. Alright, let's see. Let's get our instrument lights on. There's your cab light. The interior of this thing does look pretty good, though. Look at all the rust on all the panels and the ceiling and all that. This is very nice looking. It looks old. It looks worn. The control stand looks pretty good. It's kind of weird that there's no chair. I like that rubber anti-slip grip on the floor. That looks nice. One thing you can do, though, is hit the X key, and it'll put you in kind of a sitting position. And, you know, while I still find the keys kind of a pain in the ass, you can bind them. So what you can do is hit escape, look at settings, go to advanced, click remap keyboard controls. Now, there was an issue where, so what it'll do is it'll open, let me get the display capture up here. It'll open up a text file that basically shows you all your keybinds, your key commands. So you can use keys to operate locomotives, which is very nice. instead of having to look down, grab a little bit of air to slow down, look back up, too late, you ran into something, that kind of thing. That's why it's kind of a pain in the ass. So it's nice that you can actually use keys. They're kind of funky. They will take some getting used to. But before I tried changing these and saving, and it didn't do anything, but I read somewhere on some Discord, someone said that this had been corrected. I haven't tested it yet. But anyway, that's how you can find all your keys. It's got your VR keys down there, and then the standard keys up here. So you can use, your keyboard. And I believe they said they intend to add Rail Driver to the roadmap, which would be very nice because I have a Rail Driver. And I do like to use it with some simulators, namely Run 8, for example. But anyway, let's get out of here. All right, so we're running. We got our lights. Again, they're kind of a pain in the ass. It's like they go backwards from which way you turn. There's your wipers. If you hit the F2 key, that's your exterior cam. See our headlights there. It's actually a nice colored lens, which is nice to see in a train sim. A lot of our common train sims just have this bright white headlight color, which just looks terrible. So those actually look pretty good. And at night, they do illuminate the ground. During the daytime, you pretty much see nothing. So locomotive lighting in this is pretty damn decent. Hit F1 to go back in your cab there. All right, we'll throw the reverser forwards. Let's see, am I forgetting anything? Charge up the air. I'm going to go ahead and give some Indy, our independent brake. We'll give the horn a test. That actually sounds pretty damn good. I'm comparing to a course like Train Sim World, for example, who have never gotten any kind of North American-esque diesel horn decently. It's always a struggle with them. So to have something pretty much out of the gate like that, I haven't messed with this too much, but that sounds pretty good. There's a bell. Where's the bell at? There's got to be a bell. Where is the bell? That's the shut off there. Dude, where's the bell? Where's my bell, dude? Dude, where's your bell? Oh, there's got to be a bell. Where's the bell? Am I blind? There's a sander. Okay, maybe it doesn't have a bell. Alright, let's Alright, so the air's doing its thing. I don't know why that's blinking. I'm gonna leave the Indy on. I'm gonna get rid of the auto or the train or the train brake. It's got a decent sound, it looks like it takes a minute for the needles to do their thing. A little bit of simulation. Let's go check our hand wheels. A lot of time these will be on by default. One of the ways you'll note is that little red band there will be on the left if it's off, and to the right if it's on. Righty tighty, lefty loosey. Go. Let's go double check our passenger stock here. I've actually never operated this thing or the stock. Alright, it would appear that's off. That's off. Something else, just for those that may not know, you can kind of morph around the map, which is pretty damn neat. So you just hit the F key. You can do this across the whole damn map if you wanted to. Now we're in the woods. And the Sasquatch is going to eat us. Let's go back up to the rail yard here. Yeah, get you around the map quickly. Let's check this last car. Usually it's on the first or the last car from what I've seen. All right, we look good. Let's get back in the loco. Nope, too far. Let's shut that light off. Cab light. There we go. Let's get in our sitting position. I already laid the switches out. Should be pretty nice. Let's get out of here. Wipe off that independent brake. Give her a notch. Check these simulations out. That was fairly nice. Didn't take off too crazy. Now this thing is powerful. This is probably the most powerful locomotive in the game, I think, in terms of what it can haul. So I've got, what, like 8 empty coaches on here, so it ain't gonna be squat for this thing, honestly. You hear the joint sounds going over the switches and all that, which sound very, very nice, might I add. Actually see the trucks and the wheels spinning in there. Yeah, that sounds good. These springs actually move. Not that I can tell so far. You can see the trucks kind of bobbling back and forth. That's a little funky. This is fairly tight for a 6-axle. Yeah, this is cake for this 6-axle. Get back in here, give her some more notches. We'll just see what happens here. Stuff will happen. There's run 8. You see the temperature going up. Got a little bit of wheel slip there. Temperature is still rising. Let's see the train bobbing and weaving. And there it is, folks. Look how nice that is. Look at it plowing the dirt. Throttle's still going too, man. I gotta shut it off. There we go. Look at that. That's what I'm talking about. If you want to do that kind of stuff, go for it. The one thing with Derail Valley is it does it right. You know, like Train Sim Classic, you get shot off into the stratosphere and the game immediately ends. With this, you know, it's all about train handling. Sure, you can be, you know, a big dingus if you want and do big crashes and explosions and all that, but it's, you know, the main thing is train handling. Yeah. So we're kind of right side up now on our train here. Let's see if we can escape. Yeah, better yet, should probably shut it off. Okay, will it let me back in? Yep. Yep. Can I get in there? Yeah, it won't let me back in. But that was, you know, that looked and felt very nice in terms of what it was, you know. The digging into the dirt and all that. It looked heavy, you know. Some of the cars are still on the track. You know, as far as like a derailment in any train sim I've ever seen, this has probably got to be the most realistic, hands down. So something you can do if this does happen, grab your comms radio with your tab key. That's going to bring up your inventory, and you can actually change this. So this is mainly for your switches. You can hit a switch, but if you scroll up and down on the mouse, you've got, we're of course in the sandbox mode, so you've got spawner, a couple other things. Let's see, I should be able to have re-rail. There we go. So this says aim at the vehicle you wish to re-rail. It's going to highlight it with that blue box. I'm going to click it. I'm going to try and put it right here. Now currently it says price $0. You can do those options within the sandbox, which is neat. It's almost like, think of it like, gosh, what's that? What's the game with the cars and you can do the crashes and stuff? Ah, geez. Not Wreckfest. Oh, the one that's got like the incredible physics. Lord above. I cannot remember. Brain fart. I gotta clear out the cobwebs. Anyway, it's sort of like that in a sense, the way this game is to a degree, but you can do real-ish railroading as well. So I'm gonna go ahead and click it. It'll say re-rail for how much money. In career, you most definitely will have to pay for this. Boom. There you go. You're done. It's not the end of the world as far as sandbox. That's just the locomotive there, not the rolling stock. Man, them birds are loud. Is there a way you can actually, like, turn the, Yeah, they need to add, like, a world ambient slider for the sounds. That would be most helpful. But, anywho, that is your DE6, guys. We're just going to try and stream through these real quick. Like, let's head on to the next one, shall we? All right, next locomotive on the chopping block. This is one of the new ones. This is actually the DH4, as it's known within Derail Valley. And it's pretty darn nice looking. This is one of the brand spanking new locomotives. So this thing is obviously a 4-axle, and I think it's largely based off the DB V100. It, of course, is a diesel hydraulic. And this one is capable of pulling about 800 tons. So this one's kind of like on the upper tier of locomotives within Derail Valley that can pull, you know, somewhat heavy trains. But it is a very nice looking locomotive. This thing is probably the closest to a lot of the locomotives in game that are supposed to sort of represent their realistic counterpart. Anyhow, something else I've done is gone ahead and laid down every bit of rolling stock, which you can currently use and get within Derail Valley. First up, of course, is this boxcar, which looks very nice. It does come with many varieties as far as... this is the reefer, not the boxcar. I'm an idiot. It's basically a boxcar. It's just a refrigerated boxcar. This comes in a couple varieties or colors as well. This here is the coach, which we looked at a moment ago. These here are your tankers, which these sons of guns look pretty nice as well. These come in quite a few variations as well, and you can see all the indentions in the metal on the frame there and everything, and the rust with the ladder and the stuff up top, and you know, the corrosion behind the ladder there. These are, you know, these are fairly nice looking rail cars here, you know, for what they are. This, of course, is a auto rack or car carrier, if you will. There are a couple of variants of these as well, as far as the color of the rack itself, and then, of course, the automobiles that go on the auto rack as well. And those are some nice looking little models on that thing too. There's your information on there. This here is your box car, which again looks pretty damn similar to the reefer that's down there. Again, multiple colors. You can get all kinds of different colors for this thing, but look how good this son of a gun looks. The rolling stock actually looks really, really nice within Derail Valley. It's not supposed to be one specific thing, realistically, like I keep trying to drill out there, but, you know, it very much looks like certain things. This one, obviously, you know, half of it being North American and the other half of it being European, 100%. It's a good-looking model, though. Down here, we've got our military boxcar. So there's some military jobs or contracts you can do within Derail Valley, which is kind of neat. Of course, you'll need to pay for that license to be able to do certain things. And, of course, it's camouflaged, so you can't see it, obviously. Where'd it go? Where'd the boxcar go? No, it's still there. You can see it. Is that a little hole there for like a gun turret? This here is a flat car, obviously, which again looks nice. Look at these nice straps going on there. You got the indentions or the dimples in the metal as well. Good looking stuff. Here is your military flat car. So this is pretty neat as well. This is another one of those things where it's like, what is this supposed to be? It's, you know, so it's like a T-55 and an M1 Abrams had a love child, and that's what came out of it right there. But again, it's a neat looking little model. It's not 100% one thing or the other, but you can haul tanks, so that's pretty badass. You got your other flat car with the stakes here, of course, which some added security, obviously. And you've got different loads for these as well as this here, so it's not just tanks. Every one of these cars you see, this isn't it, so it's like, you know, you've got between most of these cars, I want to say you got between at least 2 to 3 varieties. And like the tankers, I swear you got like a million of the tankers as far as colors and all that. And then we got a gondola back here, which is very nice looking. And for whatever reason, I thought I put, I'm in the sandbox mode again, by the way. I thought I put a hopper. So you've got a very tall hopper that you can use as well that looks like, sort of like a wood chip hopper to a degree. I'll try and get it loaded in on the next locomotive. I don't know why it popped in. It's probably because the track wasn't long enough. I didn't really think about where I spawned in. But let's go look at this diesel hydraulic. Which, by the way, so one of the other things, I might as well get this out of the way for those that may not be aware. You've got to hook your trains up for the most part. You know, you get a job, you got your work order, you got to go out and find your cars. That's what you do with these tags on the side of the rail cars here. You know, sometimes they may be in a mess of other rail cars. You got to pull them out, switch them around, aka switching, shunting, whatever you want to call it, wherever you're from. That type of deal, which can be a headache or it can be fun, depending on what you want to do as far as this game and what you find interesting as far as railroading. That being said, you will need to hook trains up as well. So it's got this, geez, I don't know what it's called. The, what is it, like the hook and screw something? Anyway, that's how the stuff is connected. You've also got your air hoses. Right now, it's on, so I'm going to shut it off just for a little demonstration. We're going to cut the air to the locomotive and the reefer there. We're going to break the air hose. Let's see, this is your MU cable, so you most definitely can run multiple unit if you'd like with some of these locomotives. It's indicative of a electrical or power look, if you will, the blue and the you know, yellow and black striping there. Unscrew this, pull your little eyelet off, and there you go. The train is uncoupled. The thing could roll away right now if no handbrakes were tied on. So we're going to put that back on. Just drag it over. Tighten that bad boy up. Grab your air hose. See if I can grab it here. Going to get down in between here, which is not FRA compliant. We're going to grab that. Get our air hose back up. We're going to open this. We're going to open that. You know, a lot of that is basic in the sense, but it's, you know, somewhat simulated, which is pretty nice. It's just something active for you to do. This is the V100, basically a shunter or switcher in Germany and most of Europe and anywhere that these things are exported. It's a cool looking locomotive, being diesel hydraulics, very nice as well and interesting. Just nice to have something different instead of diesel electric. And again, it looks good. It looks very worn. I like the color. It looks very nice. Let's get inside this thing. This is the cab. The cab in this thing looks incredible. Like, you know, there's some really nice German stuff within Train Sim World, just as an example, that some second or third party developers make. This is, you know, this is for what type of game this is, for what this is going for. This is very, very close to that. This thing looks extremely nice. You can open the windows, open the doors. Let's get our handbrake off here. Nope. Left. Thank you. There you go. You'll hear that thunk when you know it's on or off. Get that door open. Get that door open. Slam it. Woo! Alright, open that breaker box. Get that closed back. But it's, you know, this thing isn't too over the top. It's, you know, it's just enough to where you might need to run the tutorial, which, by the way, there is a tutorial for each locomotive, which is very helpful. But it's enough just to get you going. And look, with the dynamic weather, like I was mentioning earlier, it is began raining. Starting to look very misty down yonder. Alright, let's see. I think we just fire it up. It sounds pretty good. You know, I wouldn't say it's like one-to-one with what these things realistically sound like. I feel like in real life they have more of a whine to them. Turn the sound down there a little bit. We got our lights. And you've got basically markers low and high as well on your lights. There's our wipers. You can hear them screeching because they're dry, which is a nice effect. You can hear the air compressor just then filling up the line or equalizing the line out, which is cool. Got our sander switch. Let's see. Let's go ahead and throw the independent off. And the auto brake. So those are fully applied, actually, not off. I'm an idiot. Now we'll go ahead and release them. There's your air gauge right there. The regular chug on this thing sounds pretty good. It's got this weird, interesting, like, alarm. Yeah, you know if that sumbitch is coming. Check the horn out. That sounds really good. That sounds really damn good. That's a German horn if I've ever heard one. It's very chonky sounding. It's just a very nice sound. You know, get excited about stuff like that when you've got these new age sims like Train Sim World that just kind of fall on their ass when it comes to stuff like that. So that sounds really nice. There's our horn. We've got our dynamic brake. We're going to leave that as is. There's the starter. There's the fuel cutoff. If you want to shut the thing off, you hit that. When you're done with the job, you definitely want to do that because the thing's going to sit here, you know, probably overheat. Well, probably not overheat, but at least, at the very least, run out of fuel. So you got a lot of stuff to worry about. There's our reverser. We're going to go backwards this time. Set it backwards. And let's give her some juice. Nice gradual shove there, going backwards. Those lights do look very nice. It's a nice color on them. Again, this isn't a very heavy train for this thing. Capable of like 800 tons, I think. Could probably do, you know, triple these cars. And most of these cars aren't even full either. We'll give her another notch. You can lean out as well with the Q and the E key. And we'll try not to derail this time, but we'll do a little brake test. Like you can actually see the cars rocking there a bit. It feels nice, you know, like going back to when I last played this, you know, it feels nice. It feels like the traction motors are actually, you know, surging up, building amps, all that good stuff, and it's actually working. It feels heavy. It feels like you're doing something, you know, as much as that can be translated through the keyboard in any right. But let's go ahead and throw some air on it. Here's some squealage. And you can lock them up as well. That's full brake right there. So not the heaviest train in the world. It did take some time to stop. One thing I'm not a super huge fan of at the moment is the fact that there's no real e-brake for anything within Derail Valley. Nothing that I've noticed so far. Hopefully they'll add something like that. That certainly would make it more realistic. You know, safety devices per se, an alerter, you know, dead man switch, something like that. Just add to it a little bit more. Look at the roof on that sucker. That looks good. This is a very, very nice looking locomotive for Derail Valley. Hell, for any train sim, this thing looks good, man. All right, we got a lot more. On to the next. All right, we are now in another location with another locomotive, and just look how good. If some of you, you know, may not have been keeping up with Derail Valley such as I, just look how good this game looks now. Obviously some sort of quarry or something. This looks very nice. Very, very nice. And speaking of which, speak of the devil, this is the, it looks like a wood chip gone kind of to me. It's a hopper. the one that I was missing earlier. And we got some loaded ones over there. So another thing with these is they've got different fills or loads as well, if you will, which is pretty cool. So this is the hopper. I might even be missing another piece of rolling stock. Here is an example of something else on a flat car. These tractors look like cats, maybe. Or front loader, whatever the hell. What are they called? I don't know my tractors that well. Anyway, locomotive. This thing is the DM3 as it's known within Derail Valley. Like I was saying earlier, I think this thing's based on the little itty bitty British Class 03 or 04, which were gear driven. They're kind of funky, and they had the connected rods on the wheels as well. Like, you know, because these things were fairly old, so they were right on the edge of, like, you know, steam engine and diesel. So this thing's diesel mechanical because it's got gears. It's like, you know, like a car with a manual transmission. I'm not going to go too deep into this thing. I'm just going to try to operate it a bit because there's quite a bit going on with this thing as far as operation. It can't pull a whole hell of a lot. It's obviously a 3-axle shunter or switcher with 2 manual gearboxes, but it's diesel mechanical, and it's capable of about 500 tons, which is okay. I think it's the second to the least, you know, pulling power-wise, but the thing looks pretty damn good. Again, the weathering, they did a hell of a job making these things look worn. You know, it doesn't look like Roblox where it's just like ultra shiny and, you know, fakey. Like it looks very nice. It's got that hazard stripe on the front, which looks good and appropriate. This radiator cover here, which looks nice. This thing looks very, very close to the old BR shunters. Indeed. Like the color as well, that kind of blue and cream. It's a good looking loco. We'll get in this thing again. Man, you can 1000% tell the new stock that they have created within Derail Valley versus the older stuff. Look at the inside of this freaking thing. This is just nuts, man. Looks absolutely good. Let's see. What happened to my tab key? My tab key's not working. That's odd. Alright, let's fire this thing up. I don't recall how. I think I did the tutorial. Alright, that is loose. Let's see. Here's our switches. Electrics and starter. Let's fire it up. It's obviously going to take time to fill up the lines. Brake lines. There you go. See them doing their thing. Not too quick, not too slow. We'll check out all the lights. We'll turn them all on. There's several differences. You've got a red marker, and then you've got, you know, typical headlights or marker lights, and different variations of brightness as well. God, look at that rusting, man. That looks epic. That looks very nice. We got the marker on the front there. The lights aren't on because it's directional, so we'll go ahead and throw the reverser forward. And then now you'll see the lights have come on. I lied. Why didn't they come on? The hell? Did I turn them on? I think it's these. There we go. Yeah, so I don't think you can have both on. Let's see. That's your shut-off valve, or the fuel cut-off. So if you want to turn it off, you just pop that. There's your sander. I have not heard the horn on this thing. You can, of course, open the windows and doors. And it's got dynamic sound. So that's deafened, louder, deafened, louder. This is certainly an upgrade, guys. This is Derail Valley. This is not the same game that I knew from, you know, before friggin' the year 2020. This is a whole nother animal. That sounds pretty good. I don't know what this thing's horns sound like realistically, if it's supposed to be the 0304. But, dude, they do some work with sounds. I mean, whether it's 100%, you know, appropriate or not, the actual sound is good. Very, very chunky. All right, here's your 2 gear levers. I'm not going to get into that today. Maybe I'll do like a separate video if you guys are interested operating this thing. We're just going to get it moving, though. It's our engine brake. Our air, we'll go ahead and... it should already be cut off on both of them. We'll charge you up to pipes. And get them back off. Yeah, for some reason my tab key's not working. There it goes. I had that happen earlier. That's odd. Let's see if we can get out of here. Oh, wait, hold on. Let's see if we can not derail. Alright, here we go. A little bit of throttle. That's reverser. There we go. Yeah, this stuff's heavy, man. So the way this gearing works is it's ideally about torque. You know, and starting off from a stop or a very low speed and putting the most possible power down. The faster you go, you switch gears. It's got to do with ratios, all that, scientific things. The faster you're going, or if you're going downhill, you know, you may want to shift up. Won't get into it today. I know a tiny bit about it, but it's just, it's a lot. I have like diagrams on this stuff, but we won't really get into it today, though. We'll give it a little bit more juice. Hey, you hear this thing chugging? Oh, did I have to brake on? Jesus Christ. I swear I turned that off. There we go. Now, you don't want to overheat this thing either, but we'll do it just for science. Let's see what happens here. So that's going over the recommended RPM. It's in the red. Oh, I have damage off. Scheisse. Yeah, I have damage off. I don't think I can change it in. You can set it when you fire up the sandbox mode. Yeah, son of a biscuit. Yeah, that most definitely will tear this thing up. There we go. Did you hear the gear grinding? Got a little more speed. Ooh. Yeah, that's not good. That terrain texture clipping through there. It's not going to affect us, most likely, but it doesn't look the best. Oh, shit. Okay, we we did break it. Dear Lord. Dear Lord. Yeah, we're just, so that can happen. We're in a scary tunnel. Did we run into something, or did we? Yeah, we broke the engine. Look at the oil temp. That shot all the way up. It's dropping now. Yeah, we killed the little, the British shunter. And we're stuck in a tunnel. It's just cruising. So that's just to show you what can happen. You know, maybe we'll do a future video on how to operate this thing somewhat realistically and how to mess with the gears, because it is a bit of a pain in the ass if you're having to look down. So you got to switch that one. Wait a second. Look down. Switch that one. Wait a second. Look down. It's, you know, it's a lot to do, not key bound. So I got to check my key bindings and all that, and maybe we'll get back into that. All right, and while this one here is not very new, I do have unfond memories of operating this thing. I want to say that one of the last times I played Derail Valley back in the day was when this released. And I want to say that was in 2020, maybe 2021, I think. It was fun, but it was a lot. I was also doing it in VR, so I was having to grab the shovel with the coal and, the sensors back then with the Oculus, those were sensor days before the non-sensors like now. It was a pain in the ass trying to shovel the coal in there. Anyway, that being said, unnecessarily, this is the S282, as it's known within Derail Valley. This one is most likely based off the USATC S200 class, which was, think of it like a military locomotive that was exported during basically World War II, that era. Steam locomotive, obviously. It is a 282, or a Mikado, or Mike as they were known. And this sucker is capable of 1,000 tons haul-wise. So it can pull quite a bit. Now, I'm not going to fire this thing up today. It takes quite a bit to get it going and keep it running smoothly. I'm not the best with Steam, but I want to get good, Scrub. I really do. Because it's a neat locomotive and it's just something different instead of all the diesel electrics or diesel hydraulic and all that good stuff. But you've got a lot of options now in Derail Valley. It's kind of funky in some aspects to look at this thing, like especially back here and that window, this whole area here with this trailing truck. The front of it looks okay for the most part. But it's a big ass steam engine. It's cool. We'll fire it up maybe one day in a separate video. Try and keep it somewhat condensed, unlike this video is turning out to be. But that is the S282, which again, if I'm not mistaken, I believe the dev said this thing was pretty much redone, almost from the ground up, with this simulator release. Alrighty, last but certainly not least, a little sneak peek as what's to come within the next update in Derail Valley. This was due to release initially with the big simulator update that just happened on July 1st of this year, but it didn't get out for whatever reason. Devs didn't think it was done. So be it. It's not done. They'll release it later. But it's basically a little steam engine shunter. The front of that thing looks very good as well. What's funny is you can actually see the livery or the texturing in the headlight lenses there where the lenses should be. That's interesting looking. That's the actual locomotive itself there. But this is going to be the SO60. It is a 060 steam switcher or shunter, whatever you want to call it. And I think it's based on the USATC S100, which was another World War II export to various countries. It's a nice looking little locomotive. The model definitely looks good. This is currently over at Old Bob's Garage on the northwest corner of the map. There's like a little kind of hidden, sneaky line that you can go and take a look at this thing. But it looks largely done. It's missing the bumpers on the front and rear as well. I think I'll hop in here in just a moment. And the interior of this thing looks very nice as well. The old rotted kind of wooden floor. There we go. One more time. There we go. The bolts and rivets. Just the overall texturing. Again, this is Unity. I'm still getting used to things looking very good with the Unity engine, but this thing's very nice. You can still kind of walk through it, so doesn't have any like hitboxes or anything quite yet. But not only are we getting this thing, but we're going to get a DE6 slug as well. So the big 6-axle diesel electric slug. But don't know when that's coming. I'm looking forward to it. But for now, I think that's going to do it for me. I hope you found the video somewhat informative as to some of the big stuff that came out with the update. I most likely will be getting into Derail Valley a little bit more with these latest updates. It feels like a totally different game now. I don't really know how to call it. It's nice. But I hope you enjoyed the video. That's it for now. I'll see you next time. Bye, guys.